KTN News.
Thank you, Timothy. Gentlemen, let's talk about this very quickly. What's happening at IEBC? They may not be very busy as a commission right now, but Chiloba has been under a lot of pressure. And what our sources tell us is there seem to be differences between himself and some of the commissioners. We are told that there's been a lot of backstabbing, minutes being leaked, communication among the top managers having to be in written form, so for fear of it being used against you. I mean, can the commission continue to function like this?
Well, no, Ben, if you're looking at IBC, you will, rather if you go to IBC this morning, that's where you're going to meet impunity, mediocrity, and corruption. That's where impunity, mediocrity, and corruption is domiciled in Kenya. And for Chiloba, it's very strange that when the Supreme Court gave orders, the RIM and other commissioners must open the servers. He declined. He ignored court orders. Then now he goes back to the very court to seek for justice. And I'm hoping that Kipchumba would be able to guide us that if you've disobeyed court orders, whether you actually qualify to get justice in our court of laws. Because he disobeyed the Supreme Court orders, now he runs to the High Court to seek justice. But maybe that's a separate legal case. The issues that must come up for determination is the cartels influencing. Because this fella, we are told, is being suspended because of procurement. And it seems the case that the commissioners, as well as the CEO, their priority is procurement deals. They want to make a quick buck, so they don't even pay attention to running a free, fair, and credible election. In some of those hearings, you are told that items which were supposed to assist in delivering a free, fair, and credible election were delivered way after the election. So you begin to wonder what is happening. And this gives credence to claims which were made by NASA earlier on, right, that these guys were interested in just procurement. Nobody was interested in delivering a free, fair, and credible election. And one recalls when Musalia Mudavadi, a NASA principal, saying that OT Mofo had been offered a contract which was so exciting that anybody would have wondered. I mean, from a contract valued at 800 million, all of a sudden it jumps to 2.5 billion. Right. And this has been given by the commissioners and Chiloba as the accounting officer. So one still wonders today why even those commissioners are in office. Again, you recall that Keriako Tobiko, then the DPP, had ordered for investigations to find out who are these commissioners and secretariat staff who may have participated in illegalities and irregularities. What happened to that investigation? Has it been put on ice? Those are the questions. And in my view, when people just want to focus on procurement deals, that's the wrong approach. Because procurement, you know, it's easy to establish who has engaged in mischief. But the main issue here is elections. These commissioners, when they were sworn into office, did a member of a certain cartel, because we understand the powerful cartels in Nairobi that are even making Sonko nervous, did these cartels tell them that your core business, your raison d'etre at the commission is to steal money, or were they supposed to run a free, fair, and credible election? And at this stage, it's important to remind Kenyans that when anybody makes a statement, it must be taken seriously. Because I recall Musalia Mudavadi said, we are smelling mischief in the procurement process. Right. And then Jubilee guy said, no, you guys are smelling defeat. That's why you're making these allegations. And now the chicken are coming home to roost.
All right. Interesting. But what you've just outlined is the basis of that, the basis on which the CEO, Ezra Chiloba, was sent on that compulsory leave. Mark, 3 IBC commissioners, that is the chair, Wafula Chebukati, Professor Abdi Gulie, and Boya Molu, voted to send Chiloba home to allow for, quote-unquote, a comprehensive audit of all major procurements relating to the 2017 general and fresh presidential election to happen. 2 of the commissioners, that is Vice Chair, Consolata Maina, and Dr. Paul Kurgat, had walked out of the meeting. Is this an indication of the split vis-a-vis the matters that are before, investigation?
The level of incompetence in the IEBC is bordering on the insane. To use a Swahili term, kitumbua kimeingia maji, meaning, kimeingia mchanga, meaning that the reality of the matter is this, that the center has fallen out of the IEBC. Tell me one organization on the face of the earth where the CEO and the chairman of a board are in constant fights and you expect that organization to keep working. Thirdly, if you're going to be corrupt, it behooves you that you can also not work. Because this is how corruption works. A, you've got to plan to steal. 2, you've got to steal. 3, you've got to spend the rest of your life covering up your stealing. So the only work that you can do once corruption has happened is to try and cover your back for the rest of your life. And that's what we are seeing here. It is a group of people, a cabal of people trying to cover their backs. It is a cabal of commissioners who are unable to come up with one idea they can all support. This was evidenced even during the time when one of their most vocal commissioners ran away to the United States, citing the very commission having issues. So the reality of the matter is this: we must now begin to understand that this IEBC, as it stands, is functionally dead. The best favor we can do Kenyans is accept defeat and say that we need to start again. Because you can imagine a situation if Chiloba is reinstated after he's been tried to be ousted twice by Chebukati. How will they work together? 2, if Chebukati cannot bring his own commission to heel, how do we expect him to then continue to lead this organization? This is something that cannot work. But at the end of the day, we must also learn from the mafia. When the FBI begins to investigate you, the first person that must die is the bookie. So whoever participated in funny business at the IEBC is very, very interested in the death of his bookie. Al Capone went to jail because of his bookie. So today, if you're going to survive politically and you participated there, your bookie must die. Question is, who's your bookie?
All right. Great analogy there. Some of the issues, the guarantee, there was a guarantee. Audit reveals, the audit, IBC entered into an agreement, like Disma says, with Ochimofo to reconfigure the KIMS kit based on a performance guarantee that had expired with the August 8th election. This was done, that is, a guarantee was 403 million shillings, expired on August 15. That is a week after the election. And then there's something here, despite there was no contract, but IBC paid Oracle 80.7 million an installment. I mean, are we going to see, are we ever going to see what really happened with these procurement issues and letters and counter letters saying that this commissioner was not there when this resolution was made, and just accusations and counter accusations? Husband, where does this leave Kenyans in terms of knowing what happened, even as they know what it means for the commission?
I think the most important thing that probably we may need to understand is that an electoral body, unlike other bodies, is in charge of an election. And the most important things that they are going to procure are electoral materials and things that are very crucial in ensuring that the election is free, fair, and credible. So, I mean, to the extent that you're going to have a flawed procurement process, you can actually estimate the credibility of that election, because the credibility starts with a very flawless and efficient procurement process where everything is above board. We know what is going to be procured, what it's going to do. So if there are issues with procurement, we can as well say that there were issues with the election, because whatever they were procuring was to carry out this election. If you have organizations, and I want to mention names, that were paid and we can't trace exactly what they were paid for, the question is, what service did they exactly provide? Because IBC is a public body, and the services that they provide should be above board. So you cannot pay millions of shillings to an organization, yet we don't even see the service that they provided or the materials that they provided. But I think the most dangerous thing that you are seeing is a situation where a board that is supposed to, a commission that is supposed to make decisions based on voting is reduced to a commission that is making decisions based on emotions and what people feel like. You have 3 commissioners vote to suspend Chiloba, and then you have the other 2 walk away. I mean, it tells you that this is a divided board, and it gives everyone an opportunity to say that they are being attacked, they are being maliciously kicked out of office. Why? Because you expect commissioners to disagree and agree and come up with one position on almost everything. And I think Chiloba has a case. The fact that 2 commissioners actually just walked away of that decision means that there is some sort of irregularity in the way he was suspended. But the critical issue that we need to ask ourselves is, if this is a body that cannot even procure materials, then what did they do in the last 2 general elections? And a number of people are saying that the handshake should not handle the electoral injustice issues are actually misplaced. That if this handshake is not going to address the IEBC issues, because they are not easy. I mean, you cannot disbundle the commission. You cannot just send people away. It must have a political will, and then the law can take its course. So this is something that the handshake must address.
All right. So final question, very quickly. Let me start with you, Kipchumba. There are so many permutations of what can happen here if Chiloba is reinstated or if he wins, what it means for those two sides of the divide in the commission. But most importantly, the question is, should this commission be overhauled? Can this commission deliver an election as it is?
Ben, my worry is not even the commission delivering an election. That is too far. Can they deliver the delimitation and boundaries that will be undertaken in the next year? I think no. The reason is this. We cannot have a commission that each and every day we are treated to drama and letters flying left, right, and center, leakages. We cannot run a commission, an independent constitutional commission like IEBC. We cannot run it like a small tuck shop somewhere in a university. We need to run it professionally. And the danger is this, we are whistling and the ship is sinking. Nobody, the IBC ship is halfway sunk. All we need is we need to overhaul this, and it is good that the handshake happened. We get an opportunity for a bipartisan approach so that as we root out these commissioners, because reading at the internal audit report, you realize that everything that is supposed to go wrong has already gone wrong with IBC. You cannot salvage that. And the issues of public image. Election management is more of what the public thinks about the electoral body.
Right.
It's not about the vote itself.
All right, very quickly, Dismas, should this commission be overhauled?
In my view, the leader of majority in the National Assembly, Honorable Adan Duale, and in the Senate, Kipchumba Murkomen, should initiate a legal process to kick out all these commissioners and senior staff, because we need to begin on a clean slate. Even a mere overhaul of the top leadership will not work. We need to send the entire secretariat home, the commissioners home, then have the new DPP, Rudin, to investigate, find a few guys who are guilty, have them thrown behind bars, so that next time you are appointed as the chairman of the commission or as the CEO or as a commissioner, you know that you are supposed to deliver free, fair, and credible elections. These are not an opportunity for you to go and make for yourself money. I mean, Chiloba is accusing the chairman of awarding very lucrative tenders to his friends, lawyers from the Bukusu community. And, you know, these are the allegations that we just need to go and start investigating. That when you are given public office, it's not an opportunity for you to work on your bank balance and focus on procurement. You're supposed to deliver on a free, fair, and credible elections. And in my view, the person who holds the key right now is the new DPP. Maybe this should be his first assignment to show that he can actually deliver.
All right, Mark, what do you think should happen?
I take exception on behalf of the Bukusu community. However, the reality of the matter is this. The IEBC as it stands now is dysfunctional. You need no further evidence than the report that's being debated now. You need no further evidence with the disagreements we are seeing, not only between the CEO and the chairperson, but also within the commission itself. It is time for us to follow the words of Chinua Achebe. When the center does not hold, things fall apart. This thing has fallen apart. That is the reality. The best part is this, that professionals have told us, Kriegler told us, that we need to get our act together as far as elections are concerned 4 years before the date. It's 4 years before 2022. It is time we started on a fresh slate. Let's kick everyone out, good or bad, poleni sana. But the reality is we need to start again.
All right, Hezbon, last final thoughts.
I think, Ben, when you have a public institution that is afraid of information being leaked to the public, then you're talking about a public institution that is doing the wrong thing. Because from where I see it, whatever they are doing, an electoral body is supposed to be above board and it's supposed to be in the court of public opinion.
All right.
So to that extent, it should not just be disbanded. It should be investigated. They should be in office for as long as they want, but the investigation should tell us who is culpable and the course of justice to take its course.
All right, thank you, gentlemen, for your thoughts. Always a pleasure having you here with me every Sunday morning. I've been with me with lawyer Kipchumba Karori, political analysts and communication experts Hezbon Owila and Mark Bichache, political risk analyst Dismas Mokua. Let's do this again next Sunday, same time, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Let's join me as we discuss and dissect the biggest political stories